The Air National Guard of the New England States. A look at the aircraft and history of these flying units from initial activation to 2016. Compiled November 2016 by Thomas Hildreth, Tech Sergeant retired, 104th Fighter Wing Enlisted Historian 1995 to 1998. Overview. The 6 New England states have historically hosted 7 Air National Guard flying squadrons. Massachusetts, the most populous of these states, hosted 2 squadrons for many years. One of the Massachusetts units no longer operates aircraft. The Rhode Island organization has had 2 different numerical identities during its existence. Nearly half of these units existed prior to World War II and served overseas on combat duty during that conflict. 3 of the squadrons in this study came into existence in the immediate post-war years and provided men and equipment for active duty in the Korean War. Virtually all of these squadrons conducted Cold War missions, including overseas deployments. Many units in this slideshow performed active duty during the Southwest Asia conflicts and the War on Terror. The 101st Squadron. The 101st Squadron was extended federal recognition at East Boston, Massachusetts, as part of the 26th Division, Massachusetts National Guard on the 18th of November 1921. Current status. As of the 1st of April 2008, the 101st was redesignated as the 101st Intelligence Squadron and remains operational in this role at Otis Air National Guard Base in Massachusetts. In this photo we see Douglas O-46A aircraft lined up around 1940 or 41. They are seen in the 1934 color scheme of bright yellow wings and tail and blue fuselage. This scheme would have to be replaced in the theater upon deployment. The North American O-47, seen here, was replacing the O-46 when this photo was taken. We see aircraft here in this photo from Boston's 101st Squadron as well as Hartford's 118th Squadron. To the rear left, several Douglas B-23 Dragon bombers are taking off. In this vintage Kodachrome, we see an aircrew member about to board his idling Douglas O-46A in East Boston. North American B-25 of the 17th Bomb Group visits East Boston, probably in 1940. The earlier Douglas B-18 Bolo bomber to the rear was made obsolete by this new sleek bomber. We can see in this photo that the B-25 is finished in a combat scheme. This photo shows us chemical warfare training in the pre-war years. The building behind the men is the Massachusetts National Guard Aviation Facility, built in 1932. In this photo we see a North American O-47 observation aircraft of the 101st Observation Squadron in flight over a mountainous winter landscape. The 101st was federalized on the 25th of November 1940 as World War II approached. The unit replaced its earlier aircraft with the soon-to-be obsolete Curtiss O-52 Owl. The 101st Observation Squadron was federalized under the command of Major Albert L. Edson on the 25th of November 1940. The unit was equipped with 15 aircraft, mostly O-46s and O-47s. In June 1941, the 101st moved to Otis Field on Cape Cod. The first mission for the 101st was photomapping New England, but the unit soon assumed the role of convoy escort service between Montauk Point, Long Island, New York, and Bangor, Maine. In October 1941, the 101st trained for combat in the Southern Pines maneuvers in North Carolina. The men and equipment returned to Otis the day that Pearl Harbor was attacked, December 7, 1941. The mission for the next 10 months was anti-submarine patrol, though the lightly armed observation aircraft were not effective in this role. The 101st Observation Squadron was assigned to New Cumberland, Pennsylvania, following anti-submarine duty. In 1943, the unit designation was changed to the 39th Photo Rec Squadron, and after serving at a variety of stateside airfields, the unit departed for England in 1944. The 39th saw combat action on the continent, and in May 1946 was designated the 101st Fighter Squadron. On 30 June 1946, the 51st Fighter Wing was organized with headquarters at Boston, Massachusetts. The 101st Fighter Squadron was organized as an air defense unit at East Boston under this wing. In this photo, we see a P-47N Thunderbolt, the first combat type, received by the 101st in the post-war era. Though used as a support aircraft in many Air National Guard fighter units, this 101st Douglas B-26 is equipped with at least 10 forward-firing 50 caliber machine guns and 4 more in the turrets. In the spring of 1950, the 101st converted to F-84B Thunderjets, but the Air Force took these back due to the demands of the Korean War. The 101st then equipped with the F-51H Mustang propeller-driven fighter as seen above. From July 1954 to early 1956, the 101st flew Lockheed F-94A and B two-seat all-weather interceptors to support the air defense of the New England area. This was due largely to increased concerns over Russia's nuclear strategic bomber force. From early 1956 until the fall of 1958, the 101st FIS, Fighter Interceptor Squadron, operated the F-94C Starfire, a more potent rocket-armed version of the Lockheed Interceptor. Supporting the F-94 fleet was the Mitchell bomber of World War II fame, which, in its TB-25K form, was used to train radar intercept officers for the F-94's back seat. The X-101st TB-25K in this photo appears to be in storage in the Southwest. In the fall of 1958, the 101st began conversion to the F-86H, a tactical version of the famed Saberjet. In response to the Berlin crisis in 1961, the 101st Tactical Fighter Squadron and 2 other Air National Guard units deployed in Operation Stairstep across the Atlantic Ocean to bolster NATO air forces. Photographed at Barnes Airport in Westfield, Massachusetts, this C-47 was the colorful support aircraft for the 101st Tactical Fighter Squadron for a number of years. The 101st TFS began flying the Republic F-84F Thunderstreak tactical fighter in March 1964. In 1970, the unit briefly converted to the F-100 Super Sabre tactical fighter. In the spring of 1972, the 101st relinquished its tactical role and converted to the F-106A Delta Dart Interceptor as the 101st Fighter Interceptor Squadron. This unit transferred from busy Logan Airport in East Boston to Otis Air National Guard Base on Cape Cod. Here's a shot of an F-106A Delta Dart landing at Otis Air National Guard Base in full unit markings. And here we see a head-on shot of an F-106A at Otis, which reveals the bulged canopy fitted to the Delta Dart late in its service life. The 101st Squadron insignia has remained unchanged over the years. The 101st had a few Lockheed T-33A Thunderbirds on strength during its time with the F-106. This Convair C-131 support aircraft was operated during the time the F-106 was the primary mission aircraft at the 101st. The 101st equipped with the F-15A and B Eagle at Otis Air National Guard Base during 1988. On the 1st of April 2008, the unit mission was changed to intelligence, and the 101st Squadron relinquished all of its aircraft. The 118th Squadron. The 118th Squadron was federally recognized as part of the 43rd Division, Connecticut National Guard on the 1st of November 1923. The unit was on active duty for most of World War II. Current status: operational at Bradley Field, Connecticut as an airlift squadron with the C-130H Hercules. In this early shot, we see a Curtiss XO-12 biplane of the 118th Squadron. The 118th Aero Squadron was organized on the 31st of August 1917. From June 1918 to May 1919, the unit served in France. The squadron was demobilized on the 6th of June 1919. This duty was performed as part of the active Army. Reconstituted and allocated to the Connecticut National Guard, it was activated at Hartford as the 118th Observation Squadron on the 1st of November 1923. In the 1920s and 1930s, the 118th operated various observation aircraft, including the Douglas O-2, O-38, and O-46, and the North American O-47A as well. On the 31st of December 1940, there were 7 O-46As and 3 O-47As on strength, along with a single BC-1A. The squadron was federalized on the 24th of February 1941 and reassigned to Jacksonville, Florida on the 16th of March 1941. It performed anti-submarine patrols at Charleston, South Carolina between January and August of 1942. Service at several other southern U.S. airfields followed, and the unit was redesignated the 118th Tactical Reconnaissance Squadron on the 11th of August 1943. Beginning in February 1944, the 118th began operations from Gushkara, India, with detachments at Chakulia and Kharagpur, India, flying the P-51 Mustang. Assignment to several locations in China followed, and in 1945 the F-6 Recon version of the Mustang was on strength. The unit returned stateside and was inactivated at Camp Kilmer, New Jersey, on the 7th of November 1945. The unit was redesignated the 118th Fighter Squadron and allotted to the Connecticut National Guard on the 24th of May 1946. It was extended federal recognition at Bradley Field in Windsor Locks, Connecticut on the 7th of August 1946, and the unit quickly received Republic P-47N Thunderbolts and support aircraft. In this photo, we see a Republic F-47N Thunderbolt, the first combat type assigned to the 118th in the post-war era. From the spring of 1956 to the fall of 1957, the 118th Fighter Interceptor Squadron operated the Lockheed F-94A all-weather interceptor. In the summer of 1960, the 118th exchanged its F-86H tactical fighters for the Sidewinder-armed F-100A day interceptor seen in this photo. Here we see a C-47A unit support aircraft at Bradley Field in the mid-1960s. During January 1966, the 118th Fighter Interceptor Squadron converted to the Convair F-102A Delta Dagger interceptor. In this shot we see two F-102As on approach to Bradley Field in 1970. There were very few camouflaged T-29 aircraft, and no two looked the same. This one served at Bradley for several years in the early 1970s. By the summer of 1971, the 118th Tactical Fighter Squadron had re-equipped with the Super Sabre, this time the air-to-ground dedicated F-100D. And as well, a couple of examples of the two-seat F-100F were also received. Bradley Air National Guard Base was also the home to this clean C-131 support aircraft. The 118th was flying the new Fairchild Republic A-10A Thunderbolt II, affectionately called the Warthog, by the summer of 1979. They continued to operate the Warthog through 2007. The 118th became an airlift squadron on the 1st of April 2008, operating the Lear C-21A VIP transport. This conversion was due to the base realignment and closure organization that had formed. The 118th Squadron began conversion to the C-130H Hercules as primary mission type in June 2013. The 131st Squadron. The 131st Squadron was extended federal recognition on the 24th of February 1947 at Barnes Airport, Westfield, Massachusetts. Current status: operational with the F-15C Eagle at Westfield, Massachusetts. 24 Republic F-47D Thunderbolt fighters and support aircraft were initially assigned to the 131st. Here's a colorful shot of a Thunderbolt at the open house at Barnes Airport in 1949. The F-51H Mustang arrived at Westfield in November 1951. The nearest aircraft in this photo happens to be a Texan trainer, a T-6. The F-51H was a lightweight version of the F-51D Mustang that served in World War II and Korea. The Lockheed F-94A and B jet interceptor arrived at the 131st Squadron in the spring of 1954. The TB-25K was a modified World War II bomber with radar installed in the nose for airborne intercept training of the 131st F-94 radar operators. In the spring of 1957, the rocket-armed F-94C Starfire arrived at Barnes. The F-94 series was dedicated to the all-weather air defense role. In the spring of 1958, the 131st Squadron converted to the tactical fighter role with the North American F-86H Saberjet. The C-47 support aircraft at Westfield wore the unit tail stripes nicely. Here's an F-86H towing the Dart target, which was part of the air-to-air gunnery training conducted by the 131st with the Saberjet. In the center of this photo, we see the end of the line for many of the F-86H Saberjets that served at Barnes Municipal Airport in this boneyard photograph. The 131st Squadron converted to the Republic F-84F in March 1964. This photo shows a General Motors built F-84F GK, powered by a Buick engine. About to touch down on runway 02, this pair of Thunderstreaks sported camouflage by the time this photo was taken in 1971. Westfield had a number of different T-33s over the years. In June 1971, the 131st Squadron converted to the North American F-100D Super Sabre. Here's an F-100D about to touch down on runway 02 with the Savage Arms plant in the background. And here's a two-seater, the F-100F, with rocket pods, about to touch down at Barnes Airport in Westfield, Massachusetts. This is a Mass Air National Guard U-3A support aircraft photographed at Barnes Air National Guard Base in 1972. The Massachusetts Air National Guard operated this Douglas C-54E Skymaster as a support aircraft. In the summer of 1979, the 131st Squadron converted to the Fairchild Republic A-10A Thunderbolt II, fresh from the factory. This photo is from October 1979. In response to BRAC, on the 1st of February 2010, the 131st Fighter Squadron completed conversion to the F-15C Eagle. The 132nd Squadron. The 132nd Squadron was extended federal recognition at Dow Field, Bangor, Maine on the 5th of February 1947. Current status: operational as an air refueling squadron at Bangor, Maine. The 132nd was an early operator of the Lockheed F-80C jet fighter seen here at Barnes Airport in 1948. But it returned these jets to the Air Force due to the demands of the Korean War. The 132nd converted to the huge Northrop F-89 Scorpion Interceptor in September 1957. The year 1969 saw the 132nd Squadron briefly equipped with a few F-102s, but by the year's end it had become an F-101B Voodoo operator. Here's a 132nd Fighter Interceptor Squadron F-101F Voodoo landing at Burlington on the 18th of May, 1975. The F-101F version has two sets of pilot controls. After operating fighters for 29 years, the 132nd Squadron converted to the Boeing KC-135A Stratotanker in the spring of 1976. In 1985, the 132nd converted to the turbofan-powered KC-135E tanker. The 133rd Squadron. The 133rd Squadron received federal recognition at Grenier Field, Manchester, New Hampshire on the 4th of April, 1947. Current status: operational as an air refueling squadron at Pease Air National Guard Base, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The North American T-6 Texan was the first type to arrive at Grenier Field, while the unit waited for the F-47 Thunderbolt. The 133rd quickly equipped with Republic F-47 Thunderbolt, as depicted by this artwork by New Hampshire Air National Guard member Hans Mariak. Following stateside active duty with F-47s during the Korean War, the 133rd converted to the F-51H Mustang at Manchester, New Hampshire. This photo was taken at Keene, New Hampshire. As we can see in this shot from Keene, New Hampshire, some F-51D Mustangs were flown alongside the H model at the 133rd. This illustration by Hans Mariak indicates that the 133rd operated the Douglas B-26 during the unit's early years. In June 1954, the Manchester unit began flying the Lockheed F-94A and B Interceptor. In March of 1960, the 133rd became the first Air National Guard unit in the country to convert to the large Boeing C-97A transport. The huge Douglas C-124C Globemaster II arrived about 2 years after the 133rd moved to Pease Air Force Base in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The Lockheed C-130A Hercules replaced the Globemaster in the summer of 1971. In the summer of 1975, the tanker mission began for the 133rd with the arrival of the Boeing KC-135A Stratotanker. The turbofan-powered KC-135E was in place at Pease by 1984. The 133rd began operating the Boeing KC-135R in the summer of 1993. 134th Squadron. The 134th Squadron was extended federal recognition at Burlington, Vermont on the 14th of August 1946. Current status: operational as an F-16 unit at Burlington, Vermont. The 310th Fighter Squadron, Active Duty Air Force, is also at Burlington, Vermont, training alongside the 134th. The 134th began flying P-47 Thunderbolts in April of 1947. The 134th went on to operate the F-51, the F-94, and began flying the Northrop F-89 Scorpion, seen here, in April 1958. The Scorpion was a type commonly assigned to the Northern Tier states. In the summer of 1965, the 134th Squadron began operating the Convair F-102A Delta Dagger at Burlington. As with most F-102 squadrons, the 134th also operated the two-seat TF-102A Tub Trainer. A handful of T-33A T-Birds were also flown by the Green Mountain Boys. At Burlington, this Convair C-131 was operated as a support aircraft in the 1980s. In 1974, the 134th equipped with the EB-57B Defense Systems Evaluation aircraft. This was a modified Martin B-57 bomber. The paint shop at Burlington was creative, replicating on two TB-57C aircraft the gloss black scheme the Night Intruder bomber was introduced to Air Force service with 20 years earlier. Another TB-57C wore Vietnam-era camouflage. The remaining dozen or so wore the conventional gray and red Dayglow paint. Here we see three EB-57s during an air show flyover at Burlington. When the 134th converted to the F-4D in January 1982, it became New England's only Phantom II operator. Conversion to the F-16A began in April 1986. The two-seat F-16B version accompanied the single-seaters. These were followed by the F-16 ADF Interceptor version of the Viper for the Air National Guard. This appeared at the 134th in 1990. The multi-purpose F-16C replaced the ADF variant at the 134th. Here is a Green Mountain Boys F-16C starting up on a very cold day. The 143rd Squadron. The 143rd Squadron was extended federal recognition at T.F. Green Airport, Rhode Island, on the 19th of November 1955. Current status: operational at Quonset State Airport, Rhode Island, as a C-130J Squadron. Following federal recognition, the 143rd Air Resupply Squadron, Rhode Island Air National Guard, took over the personnel and facilities of the inactivated 152nd Fighter Interceptor Squadron at Green Airport and equipped with the Curtiss C-46D transport. By the 1st of July 1963, the 143rd Squadron was in the air commando business with its Grumman HU-16 Albatross amphibians. In addition to the HU-16, the 143rd received a small number of Helio U-10 Couriers, a short takeoff and landing aircraft tailored for the new mission. In the fall of 1971, the 143rd equipped with the Fairchild C-119G packet. In the early 1970s, the C-119G was replaced by the C-119L, which happened to be equipped with three-bladed propellers. The C-130A Hercules arrived in the summer of 1975, and 5 years later the 143rd moved to Quonset State Airport in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. The C-130A had been supplanted by the C-130E by 1990. This photo, taken at Bangor, Maine, shows the gray color scheme that replaced the camouflage. The 143rd now operates the C-130J, the current Hercules production model. The 152nd Squadron. The 152nd Squadron was extended federal recognition at Hills Grove, Rhode Island on the 13th of October 1939. This unit was on extended active duty through most of World War II. On the 19th of November 1955, the 152nd was inactivated due to the inability to operate jet aircraft from the T.F. Green Airport in Warwick, Rhode Island. On the 18th of May 1956, the 152nd Squadron number was assigned to the Arizona Air National Guard, and federal recognition was extended to the new Arizona Air National Guard Saberjet Squadron at Tucson. The 152nd received federal recognition at T.F. Green Airport on the 15th of September 1948 and equipped with the F-47D Thunderbolt, followed by these F-51H Mustangs in the summer of 1952. Not the best landing, but the external fuel tanks helped minimize damage to this Mustang. With its future in the balance, the 152nd operated these F-84D Thunderjets out of Bradley Field, Connecticut, while waiting for the home state to provide a jet-capable airport. Here is the credits page for photographs.